that they actually did have that power. Matt Gaetz is showing that we were right about forced to vote, and that they voted for Nancy Pelosi and extracted absolutely nothing for their vote. Matt Gaetz has been slapping McCarthy's head around since before he became speaker. Go ahead, what do you want to say?
Let's not forget, one of the reasons they couldn't force the vote was because we couldn't risk the possibility that Kevin McCarthy would become the speaker. Remember how strong of a thing that was?
Yeah.
What if he became speaker? We could lose Roe v. Wade.
So this is how ballsy Kevin McCarthy was. He tweets out, "Bring it on." Matt Gaetz just did.
Did Kevin really? No, I was talking to the intelligence community to take care of this. I'm sorry, Matt, I wasn't speaking to you.
Elon Musk even weighed in on that. He said, "This exchange is amazing." So what happened? So they ousted McCarthy as speaker. You already know the story, but I like what
They're all going to you. The Democrats are like, well, that's disgraceful. You said he was the worst guy. I thought when your enemies are screwing up, to let them screw up and shut up.
This is about the establishment. And you can't go against the establishment. So you have, just like they said in that video, you have to be willing to be hated by the establishment to get something done. And Matt Gaetz is willing to do that because guess what? He's funded by the people.
Well, Newt Gingrich said everyone's going to hate him. I was watching Newt Gingrich on Sean Hannity.
That's what they said about Trump.
Yeah.
They said everybody's going to hate him when he said that you screwed up 9/11 and the Iraq War was wrong. They were like, oh, that's over for him. No, that's what catapulted him to the presidency. Say Matt Gaetz is more popular right now than I think anybody in Congress.
Yeah.
So Nick says, after seeing what is happening to Kevin McCarthy due to the actions of a small militant caucus, I'd be embarrassed if I was someone on the left who spoke out against forced to vote when we demanded AOC and the squad do the same to Nancy Pelosi. How does it feel to be proven so completely wrong and exposed as a naive political child? He goes on, removing Nancy Pelosi isn't chaos. What is chaos is 70,000 Americans dying each year because they don't have health care and she refuses to put it up for a vote. Imagine if the left supported forced to vote in AOC and the squad was making this argument in front of millions of people watching. Mm-hmm. Instead, they voted for Nancy Pelosi and the DSA left ran cover for them. Now we are further away from Medicare for all than when the Bernie movement started. So that includes Cory Bush, all of them. That also includes Nina Turner, who ran cover for them, the Young Turks, all the people with their stupid shows who did that. If AOC waged this fight against one of the most unpopular politicians in the modern era, while fighting for a popular policy position like Medicare for all, she would be the most popular politician in the country, by far. Instead, she voted for Pelosi. Now she has a favorable rating as low as Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that bad. So they did it. And they did it over real reform stuff. The effort was launched on Monday. This is the first time. I didn't know that was the first time they'd ever done that. And the people who are upset are people who, even like quote unquote Democratic, not politicians, but like journalists, mm-hmm. right? People at the HuffPo and stuff. They're saying this is outrageous, and it's because you can't go against power. Yeah, right. You can't go against the establishment. So he introduced a privileged resolution to vacate the speakership after accusing McCarthy of cutting a secret deal with President Biden. So what they did was they got the Ukraine aid. He's serious about this Ukraine aid, this Matt Gaetz. So they got him to take the Ukraine aid out of the deal that would keep the government open, but McCarthy went behind their backs.
Well, wait, Jimmy, I don't know if I believe that. There's no proof of that. We can't just jump on that as if it were Russell Brand wild allegations from a
decade ago.
Yeah, from a decade through the British media. This is something we have to wait and not jump too much on.
Unfortunately, they sent a letter out, leadership telling the people that don't worry, McCarthy, when we get back to session, is going to put it up for an up and down vote, which was very,
Well, now you're putting it in Putin's hands.
Well, when he took it out, everybody assumed it won't go on the floor because only the speaker could take it to the floor. So if he takes it out, it's never going to get on the floor. But then he went behind the back and said, don't worry, we'll put it up for an up and down vote and you'll get your Ukraine spending money because all the Democrats want to fund this war.
So this is just about how much the military-industrial complex has a stranglehold on the Democrats. And that's all this is. This is just a money laundering operation, the Ukraine war. This isn't, look at my speech at the UN. You know what I'm talking. Go ahead.
This is like, okay, remember when it turned out FTX was doing backdoor deals with Alameda Research and they're supposed to be separate?
Yes. Yeah.
I get a strong feeling that America and Ukraine have some similar relationship.
Like Putin's a madman.
Oh, is this all one big company and I thought I lived in a nation?
So what's funny is that there are people out, anyway, so the final vote was 216 to 210 with 8 Republicans and every Democrat voting to remove McCarthy. And then, so here's Matt Gaetz says, Speaker McCarthy never intended to move on to single subject appropriation bills until we forced him to. So so I was going through marijuana withdrawal, still am, head foggy, on vacation, wasn't paying attention. This guy's serious about this. So Craig, what this is how they'll put in a bill here, Ukraine funding along with feeding the border, along with the military, whatever school funding. They'll put all this kind of shit together, so you can't vote against it. And he's saying, no, you're going to vote on single things. This is like a real reform.
Yeah. But what about the political norms, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Normally, we wouldn't do that. Normally, we would do something corrupt.
And so that's a real reform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I get a Kleenex?
Yeah.
Think how crazy that is. Like he's the crazy guy of that because he did the thing that most people want in the country where the democracy that's at stake this election.
Most leftists want that. They don't want a bill that goes to the floor where you're lumping in Ukraine spending and border.
Most of America doesn't
it provides cover for the politician.
Or Israel funding and school lunches.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good one.
So thank you. And
he's not representing the people he's supposed to represent there. That's what's crazy about him.
So the one guy who has the balls to do this in Congress is Matt Gaetz, and of course they tried to smear him as a pedophile because the donor class doesn't have a stranglehold on him. He doesn't take PAC money.
I haven't looked at his funding, but I know that on the floor they accused him of using this for fundraising, and he said, "I'll gladly take 20."
Well, I'm going to play that. Yeah. I'll play that. Washington must change. We must put the House of Representatives on a better course. Speaker McCarthy has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will. So now this is the speech I always wanted to hear a lefty make.
Yeah.
Here it is.
To be clear, I tried to get one of the 3 podiums on the Republican side, and y'all wouldn't let me have them, so he sent me over here. But you know what? I'll make this argument at any desk in this building, from the well, from the chair. I'll make it on every street corner in this country that Washington must change. We have to break the cycle. We have to break the fever. And I would hope, truly, that the reforms that we are fighting for are reforms that would last and be embraced and that would democratize power in this institution beyond the privileged few who back us up against shutdown politics and Christmases and deadlines in order to achieve their objectives. Mr. Speaker, high inflation is on the verge of bankrupting American families. Our economy is breaking in half. A typical American family can't afford to buy a house in 99% of U.S. counties. Inflation is stealing more than $700 a month from working Americans, nearly $9,000 a year. Kevin McCarthy is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and he has failed to take a stand where it matters. So if he won't, I will. I make no apologies for defending the right of every hardworking American to afford a decent life for themselves and their families. And we have a greater opportunity to do that and to build coalitions under new leadership. We have to rip off the Band-Aid. We have to get back on a better course. And Mr. Speaker, I don't know how this vote's going to go. Usually when a vote comes to this floor, it's pretty predetermined. And this one, I'm not so sure. But I am sure that we've made the right argument. That this place deserves single subject spending bills. That we should have 72 hours to read a bill. That something that spends more than $100 million shouldn't be put on the suspension agenda such that we can't amend it. And there shouldn't be secret side deals made on a continuing resolution to lump Ukraine in with border security. That is not right for Ukraine or border security because it fails to give either of those issues the dignity that they would require. But we can return that dignity to this House. We can get back on a better path. We can have single subject appropriations bills. We can set a budget top line. We haven't had a budget in this place since I was in high school. So let's get a budget. Let's get our act together. Let's get on with it. Let's vacate the chair and let's get a better speaker. I yield back.
And so,
Whoa, what was that ruckus?
now you know.
There goes the ruckus.
There goes. That's a ruckus. That's a real ruckus. And now you know why they slandered him as a pedophile. Because the donor class can't control him. And so remember all those crazy stories that they were writing and that he's a pedophile. Oh God, he's still going to be a pedophile.
I haven't heard anything about it for quite some time.
Haven't heard any.
Well, I bet they'll be making a comeback now.
Yeah.
So that's what they. I'm sure that's what they said to Jamal Bowman and Bernie Sanders. You want us to do what we're doing to Gaetz to you?
Okay, now in fairness,
You better go along with the Ukraine war. You better slander healthcare activists. You better call healthcare candy. You better vote for the CARES Act. You better participate in the largest upward transfer of wealth in human history. Or we're going to do to you what we're doing to Gaetz right now. We're going to say there's a pedophile. And if that doesn't work, we'll do what we did to Trump. We'll say he's a Russian agent. And if that doesn't work, we'll do what we did to Tulsi Gabbard, and we'll say she's an Assadist. She's a traitor to our country, even if she's serving as an officer in our military in these stupid wars. And so they can't control him, and that's why they did that to him. Why do you think the FBI was trying to pin a pedophile tag on him? What do you think they're doing to Russell Brand? Do you not see the game now? So whoever the donor class can't control and hate and they're calling him crazy now. They're calling him a terrorist.
this is a disgrace. I saw Newt Gingrich say he's a traitor to the Republican Party. You know, the thing that I'm mad about.
Yeah. So here, imagine if they had the balls. Imagine if a Democrat had the balls to say this and actually followed through on it.
And when it comes to how those raise money, I take no lecture on asking patriotic Americans to weigh in and contribute to this fight from those who would grovel and bend knee for the lobbyists and special interests who own our leadership, who have, boo all you want, who have hollowed out this town and have barred against the...
Do you hear the marked difference between if you were a crowd of people and said that?
Yes.
And what you hear at the top?
A crowd of people. So if I say that at one of my shows, the whole place stands up and cheers.
Yeah.
He says that in front of their elected representatives and they boo him.
His own party. That's his own party booing, and he doesn't give a damn.
That is, this is like watching, to me, Matt Gaetz right now, for me, it's like watching a professional wrestling villain go to the microphone and all of a sudden turn into the good guy.
He's a rock.
You're like, what? You're for the people?
He's doing a great wrestling monologue. And if you actually do the thing like boot McCarthy out, it's really weird how happy I am about that and how much you would think it would align with every Democrat whose worst fear was the Kevin McCarthy speakership.
Yeah.
That was a primordial, primordial fear.
And he doesn't want to fund Nazis. This is
Whoa! Now, can I just say, in fairness to Jamal Bowman, I believe he did try to force the vote a couple of times, but it turned out to be the fire alarm.
So the conservatives have been considered dishonest thieves for generations, and it looks like Matt Gaetz has absconded with the morality that was supposed to be on the left.
Look at this panel of angry monopoly men.
No, he's actually on the Democrat side right now
They're all-
because the Republicans wouldn't give him
One of the podiums.
a podium.
Yeah.
So those are all Democrats behind him, right?
What's the Democrat attack, I guess? Like, this doesn't look classy at all.
Well, what they're doing, they're trying to spin it like, look, they don't have their act together, and they're just going to try to campaign off the fact that they're just out of whack. They can't get their act together. They can't get on the same page, and they're slowing down government. They're shutting it down because of this nonsense.
No,
That's
but-
how they're trying to spin it.
But it is.
The thing we all want. I want us all to be on the same page.
We all want people. That's what the Democrats have turned into. That's what they're bragging about. AOC said a couple days ago that the Democratic Party's running like a well-oiled machine.
Oh,
Like
no shit.
They're all in unison.
Yeah.
They're all in lockstep. That's called being in lockstep. She's not there bringing what a ruckus. So listen to what he has to
Listen to
say.
that machine purr. No clanking.
This is, and forced to vote made me. I don't want to say bitter, but it made me cynical because I saw all these people just blatant. The whole establishment lies. So wait till if you think pedophile wasn't bad, wait till you see what's coming next at this guy from the corporate media, where they're calling him a terrorist.
Yeah.
They're saying that he's
I think
over.
there's going to be like terrorism charges brought against
Yeah, I
him
bet
for
you,
this.
because if you could charge it with terrorism, you don't have to, you could just suspend his civil rights. You don't have to give him a trial because when Barack Obama signed the ND 1021, and now they just indefinite detention. I bet he's going to get indefinite detention for this.
They've already been talking about the ethics committee coming back after him, possibly bringing up some charges. So
Yes.
they've already kind of hinted at that. The ethics committee, yeah.
Yeah,
What
they're
about the norms committee?
yeah. So, and of course, everybody's going to spin this from MSNBC, CNN, Fox News. I bet you even to the Young Turks and all those people that somehow they're not. First of all, I saw. There's so much I want to say about it. But the weird thing is that the Democrats could have tried to actually extract something from McCarthy.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they do that? I don't think McCarthy was willing to make a deal.
Well, he probably wasn't willing to make a deal because of what Matt Gaetz said on Jake Tapper when he goes, well, no, if McCarthy is going to cut a side deal, and if the Democrats are going to, make a deal with him, then the Democrats will own him because I'm done owning him. So he put him in a position where McCarthy probably couldn't go to the Democrats because Matt Gaetz called his bullshit on Jake Tapper.
So here's some. I mean, this is Matt Gaetz is inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
and this is amazing. This is exactly what we thought that AOC would do. This is exactly what we thought Cori Bush would do. Jamal Bowman would do. This is exactly what we thought they would all do. And of course, they're trying to pretend like this is bad.
Yeah.
They're trying to pretend
Like
like
Jimmy,
this is
the optics.
yeah.
We got the optics of it.
So they're going to get that Ukraine money come hell or high water. And why do people give a shit about Kevin McCarthy? Politics attracts mediocre people to begin with, but the most mediocre of
I thought he
people.
was a living nightmare that
Kevin
could never be the speaker, and that was our worst thing. I don't understand what's happening. I remember the fear of Kevin McCarthy because people run up like, you're an idiot if you think.
Yes.
Which was a lie, anyways, because
Which
he was
was
never
always
going to be
a
a
lie.
speaker when the
What?
Democrats had power. When the Democrats had
Kevin
the
McCarthy
minority.
wasn't the devil.
He couldn't even keep speakership when the Republicans had it. So I don't know what this is, but Matt Gaetz is on fire. Let's play another one.
It is astonishing to hear any colleague give Speaker McCarthy credit for moving on to the single subject appropriations bills. As you heard my colleague Mr. Biggs say, that was never the plan from Speaker McCarthy.
Mr. Big from Sex and the City?
Is that what he
Is
said?
that Mr. Big? Did he say Mr. Big? My friend Mr. Big?
I think he was talking about another convention.
Oh, okay. Because that would be exciting.
My colleague Mr. Biggs say, that was never the plan from Speaker McCarthy. The week before we moved on to those single subject appropriations bills, the plan was another CR. He pitched a CR. They tried to get us to vote for a CR, and only when a brave few said we are done governing by continuing resolution. We are here to eulogize the era of continuing resolution. We will not do it. We will not pass it. These bills can go, the spending may rise and fall as the years pass, but the notion that we're going to lump in the Department of Education and the Department of Labor with our military and our troops and our Border Patrol is fundamentally unserious, and I would suggest chaotic. We cannot do that. It was only because we forced that to happen, and by the way, if we continue with Speaker McCarthy, the appropriations process will go right back to what he wanted it to go back to. Just a sideshow, just a puppet show. Just something to keep the hamsters on the hamster wheel as they continue to back people up against a calendar, centralize power with the lobbyists and special interests that move all kind of money through the leadership, and then that's how they get their way, and that's why the American people have been getting screwed decade after decade, and I'm not going to tolerate it anymore without a fight. I reserve it.
Wow.
It is astonishing.
Isn't that amazing, Kurt? That's kind of mind-blowing. And it's, what's even more mind-blowing is to watch how the establishment, media, and the other politicians call this the bad thing. He's cuckoo. He's crazy. This is what everybody should want. This is certainly what the people of America want. And they boo it. Here's what Nico House says: not a single Democrat would ever hold Pelosi accountable in a way that Gaetz did to McCarthy. Every self-proclaimed progressive in Congress should be embarrassed, of course. Remember, and then there were people like this. Even they slip. This is when. Remember back then he was saying that McCarthy couldn't become.
Uyghur?
Yes.
So what you do is you force, when you vote no.
What do you do?
Still
He
the
slipped.
classic.
That's the classic. He slipped when he was trying.
Oh, this is
So he was trying to get them. So when you when you vote no.
Oh, do you think you can go?
That forces them back to the negotiating.
So I just said day after day we are shown that forced to vote was the correct strategy, and AOC and the Fraud Squad turned down their base and sided with the establishment. Imagine the energy, enthusiasm, and power to make demands that the left could have had if they were more